Hello.
Uh, I just want to tell everyone, I got Kirby a little present over the week because I just wanted to show. I was thinking about getting myself something, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do something for someone else, and I got Kirby a 6-month subscription to Coast AM.
Hold on. Is this one of those reaction streams where I'm just like, ah?
No. I was. Okay. So let me just say that. So at first he was kind of like, it was a Sunday, I think, and Sunday is Kirby's like me day, which is he doesn't like to talk to people. And then on Monday he's like, oh shit, it's Coast AM. Wait, what? Is this like a subscription? I'm like, yeah, I got you a gift subscription. And then Tuesday he texts me a fucking tirade about how angry he is at the Anunnakians.
They're assholes.
He's pissed.
They're like the exact they're corporate America. The Anunnakians are essentially putting us into this fucking hypnotic state, and we live in this world where what's that? Hold on. Let me collect my thoughts. We are living in a world where all we do is give to the rich, and that's it. And we make no money. We just continuously give to the rich. We think when we die, we move on to another spiritual plane, or another like fucking or the piece of death.
This is news to you. I don't understand what's going on right now.
No.
Like I want to say as you're saying this, I want to say surprise, but it's not like they fucking hide it. Like,
Adoy.
Well, okay, no, but that's not the problem. The problem is when you die, they put you on a karmic balance. And let me tell you this right now. Nobody on this fucking planet can pass that karmic balance. Like, nobody. You have to be like straight up Mother Teresa, Gandhi.
Well, what about the Dalai Lama?
Maybe
not
the
even
Dalai
him,
Lama.
man.
Yeah.
No.
So
he'll shake your hand for $100,000.
When you fail because you accidentally stole one snake from a department store when you were 5, they send you back to the fucking life, and you have to do it all over again.
Okay, so that snake thing was really specific.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, okay.
Talk about it.
I'm just saying that I'm very happy that you listened to it, and I could tell you listened to it by how angry you got. And I do also want to say that George Norrie is an entertainer, not a scientist.
Not a scientist. He does random ask questions though.
He's amazing. He's fucking. The like whatever pops in his head, because he gets this. I love it too, because he gets the fucking weirdest shit topics, and then he's just like, he's got to think like, I got to ask these questions seriously. Like, so
yeah.
So if the moon is hollow, what would you say is in it? Well, George, I think it's full of Russians or the Iranians.
Yeah, I know.
And he's got to say like, yeah. Do you think that if I went up there that I'd meet them? Well, George, maybe if you were able to get through the doors. Doors. Oh, all right. Okay, doors.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. He's like, if the Anunnakians have a spaceship, would they be able to fly to Neptune? And it's like, why Neptune?
Yeah.
What is the point of this question?
I know. He's. I just love it because I'm pretty sure he does it off the cuff too, because it's like, it does sound like it's off the cuff. Like, well, so what kind of spaceships would you say they have? Are they round? Or are they spherical? Or do they look like Boeing 747s like L. Ron Hubbard said they would? But made of gold.
Hey, why are we talking about aliens today, guys? Well, this topic of the story is aliens. We are doing the Flatwoods Monster. This dude crash landed in the woods of West Virginia and terrorized a whole bunch of people by doing absolutely nothing.
We have to do intros.
Yeah, you gotta introduce us, bro.
Oh,
We
I
never
know.
did intros.
I'm getting to that.
He's getting to it.
Welcome to the stream. I'm doing the intro. My
What's the name of our podcast?
welcome to Crook and Murder. My name is Kenny Crook Irish Kirby, and you may know me as the guy that spent way too much money on disc plates. Today I am joined by Maxwell Murder.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Maxwell Murder, and you may know me as the guy who 25 years ago was running out of a Safeway with a 40 ounce and threw it at the guy who was chasing him because I'd rather throw it at the man than drink it.
Well, how the fuck am I supposed to follow that up? I mean, seriously.
And you
I'm
may
a special guest Alex and just fuck me with a dildo, I guess. I don't know.
As long as it's the big silver Dr. Manhattan dildo.
Oh, I mean, it's always gonna be fucking Dr. Manhattan. Did you see that guy's strong? And can't he like change his appearance and shit to like whatever size you want? Fucking stick it in and make it grow while it's inside. Perfect.
I don't think Billy Crudup really needed to grow it. He was pretty hung.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, you see this.
So what are we looking at today, Max?
All right, so we're talking about. Okay, hold on. Let me get in character. Let me just. Bata. Okay. I should warm up before we start streaming, but that was my warm up. All right. We're talking about
Great start, guys.
Bata. The Flatwoods Monster. So, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the Flatwoods Monster. They don't really know what it is. It's an extraterrestrial being that crash landed in the town of Flatwoods in Braxton County, West Virginia, just down the street.
Probably the
me,
most exciting thing to happen in West Virginia, to be honest.
Mothman, dude.
I retract my previous
doesn't West Virginia have a lot of like
Okay, all right. So I
folk
was wrong.
monsters, folk monsters?
Look, I know it seems implausible, but occasionally I have misinformation.
It's okay. I think the most exciting thing to happen in West Virginia actually was Kirby and I showing up there.
That's, yeah.
I remember when we were driving there, and I was like,
modest.
I forgot. Look, it was either we were going to West Virginia or Pennsylvania or something, but I'm sitting there and we stopped by this gas station on the side of the road, and it's like it's a one-way road. Like there's no other way to go. You either go right or left. And I go inside and I'm buying like some Pringles, and and I walk up to the gas station guy and I'm just like, "Hey, how far to the Pennsylvanian border?" And he just looks at me and he's like, "Depends on where you're going."
I mean, he ain't wrong.
Dude, that wasn't Pennsylvania. That was remember Point Pleasant's on the banks of the Ohio River and borders Ohio.
Oh yeah.
And we were staying in Ohio in Gallipolis or Gallipolis, however you want to say it, Ohio, instead of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, because Gallipolis is a little bigger. But yeah, we stopped at a gas station. You're like, "Hey, so I do remember this. How long is it to Ohio?" He's like, "Depends on where you're going."
Yeah, and I was like, I just kind of stared at him for a second, and then he stared back at me, and I was like, "Thanks for the soda."
It was a weird ass fucking gas station. They sold all kinds of tchotchkes and Trump things and Confederate flags and Bigfoot stuff. I didn't really like giving them my money.
My kind of place.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
I tried to steal a 40 ounce, but I didn't. All right, back to the Flatwoods Monster.
Probably would have gotten shot, but yeah, Flatwoods Monster.
That's okay. I was packing.
Yeah,
he really was.
He almost shot a beaver on that
trip.
trip.
Get into a shootout over a 40 ounce, like
you know,
him and some other dude shot each other 4 times. Why? It was over a 40 ounce.
Yeah, a 40 ounce. Neither of us are even gonna drink, too.
You guys don't drink.
So, in that situation, I would absolutely do it, out of principle. But
All right.
anything, yeah. I just want to clarify one thing before I get into this. I'm talking about 40 ounces in Revolution because I'm wearing my favorite shirt that says I've got my 40 ounce and a system to overthrow. It's a song, but I'm very into this shirt. It's awesome. Anyways,
I
it's
mean,
awesome because I don't
you are
drink too.
technically into the shirt.
I am really. That's right. I am in the shirt and into the shirt. Okay, let's get into this this quote unquote monster, because I don't know if you want to call an alien a monster. It's kind of offensive. So
That's derogatory,
I know-
right? Yeah,
what?
that's
I would
thought.
say so.
By whom? Who has come down and been like, stop calling us aliens, please?
No, I mean monster. They're aliens for sure.
Well, yeah, but like, they could still be monsters.
Okay, I guess maybe this one was an asshole.
What if General
What is this,
Grievous
Charlie
landed on our planet?
Theron? What the fuck? What do you mean? I don't.
You know what? I will call aliens monsters.
Okay, it
Yeah,
really
well,
depends.
then just wait until you get fucking canceled, buddy.
Yeah, intergalactically.
God damn it! Our ratings dropped in Mars.
All right,
Okay,
let's hear the stats of this monster.
Yeah, we're getting into the stats card here. So we got, it's a species, alien, broad, location that it appeared, Flatwoods, West Virginia. It's got powers, can glide, potentially fly, also immense gas.
So
Me too.
far, it's just one of those flying squirrels, is what we're talking about.
Well, let's get into what its face looks like, and then we'll discuss. It's 10 feet tall
Yeah, if flying squirrels were 10 feet tall, Alex.
and full of beans, farting up a storm.
I wonder if that's the only food that will travel intergalactically. They're
It's
just like,
probably you're just eating canned beans out of a can.
God damn it, pork and beans again tonight.
It's cold with the fucking lid like almost off. It just tore it like a spoon. Just no.
No,
Actually,
spork. Better yet, a spork.
I was gonna say a K-bar knife, like the Marines, just like. Okay. So its head is a little silly, or not silly. Its head is interesting. It resembles the ace of spades. Could be reptilian and bony. Its face, round and blood red, has a large pointed hook-like shape around its face. Its eyes are spherical and emit a pale blue light. Its body, dark black or green body with metallic clothing-like folds. Hands, small, twisted claw-like hands. Sounds it emits, hissing. Let's just say it's aggressive. And this is always my favorite question in our like stat cards. Can it be killed? Unknown, but probable.
With water, if anybody's curious.
You know, I do kind of want to point out that this, like, as we go through this tale, this
It's
alien
interesting.
doesn't seem to do anything to anybody, and yet we feel like it terrorized our small town.
Yeah, and
We're
yet you called it a fucking
fucking
monster. You monster.
It could still be a monster. Look, there are varying degrees of evil, and I'm sure it exists out there in the galaxy that there's a Cthulhu. In fact, if we want to discuss the multiple dimension galaxy and the fact that everything that we can think of exists somewhere else, or we just haven't created it yet here, means Cthulhu must exist.
What?
Oh my god.
What are these? What are those aliens from Star Trek that use imagination to? Wesley becomes part of them.
The Travelers.
The Travelers.
It's originally the guy who inducts him is the dude from SETI Alpha 5.
Yeah.
The Travelers.
Travelers, yeah. And then in Picard, he recruits the chick.
Yeah, that I remember.
Yeah. Man, the third season of Picard, it just, I took a shit this morning, and it was better than that season.
It we can talk about it off because
Yeah.
this will turn into a tangent.
I
But
know,
yes,
I know.
it was tough to watch.
How can you fuck up Worf? That's my thing. Like, he's got some good lines, but how can you fuck up Worf?
Don't you guys have a nerd podcast to do?
We're working on it. Okay. We'll do an entire podcast that will last 6 months on how bad the third season of Picard was.
Do it.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna get into what happened to this creature. I just actually I did want to say one thing about the its stats. So it emits gas, and its eyes emit like a blue glow,
Yeah.
and
Go on.
like you said, like it didn't seem to do anything. Like the Mothman emitted a big red glow from its eyes that actually like gave people pink eye.
I think it's
So-
different dimensional. I think it's
What?
all dimensional beings.
The
Like there's
Mothman's
the mo-
power was to give people pink eye.
It technically wasn't pink eye. It was.
Okay.
It was. It presented like conjunctivitis, but it actually like was like a sunburn. It like or a radiation
Gotcha,
burn.
okay.
It like burned the like top layer of your eyeball, and it turned into this conjunctivitis.
'Cause talk about going to like the fucking Monster Quarterly and being like, "Oh, what's your power?" I give people pink eye.
you know, I think it's a fourth dimensional creature. Like think about it like this.
This one or Mothman?
Both. Like
Okay, both. I would
if-
agree with you on that.
at some point it all converges. Like
Yep.
in the first dimension, we don't see anything. The second dimension we only see like what's directly in front of us. The third dimension opens up spaces around which we can go, and the fourth dimension opens up the alteration of those spaces via time. So, if these creatures are popping into our existence for brief moments where we can't truly capture them, it's because we're seeing their convergence with our reality. We're seeing a snapshot of what they are.
Yeah, I agree. Alex looks like his house is being broken into. Everything okay, dude?
Maybe no, yeah, I heard some banging. I wasn't sure what it was.
It's the neighbors just getting down.
Flatwoods Monster.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go into like what happened in where was it? Flatwoods, West Virginia. So we've got the first sighting of this creature. Ardra Harper claims to have. It took me a second. Claims to have seen the creature while walking through the woods to a store near her home in Eaters, about 5 miles from Flatwoods. The road to the store was rough and rutted, and she decided to tramp through the woods. About halfway into her trip, Harper glanced up to a hill they were passing. Was it more than one people, or are we just using they as a?
It's more than one. It's Harper and her
Okay.
group of friends. See this?
Oh, okay, got it. So it's Ardra Harper and a group of friends. As they were passing through, half a mile in, they glanced up to a hill they were passing. There was a ball of fire on it. Harper dismissed it and assumed one of the neighbors were fox hunting.
Yes,
Very-
because that's how you fox hunt.
That's very
Just by lighting shit on fire.
very upper crust British. Like fox, like the I get this picture of like guys in red suits on horseback with little horns and guns going fox hunt.
Yes, but you know what I've never seen in fox hunting? Just laying down gasoline and just burning away the environment to fucking scuttle them out.
Well,
so I don't know
that's-
what she was thinking.
It's like
That's
honey,
how we do it here.
Honey,
This is the American version.
honey, do you have the Molotov cocktails?
Yeah.
I'm going fox hunting tonight.
We don't like to use our dogs to flush out the foxes. We use fire.
Fuck it. Fire's more efficient. Like, why even use a
It
dog?
is.
Just psh.
You gotta
Yep,
feed a
same
dog,
force.
and it shits. Fire just burns. All right. However, when she glanced back, she saw something that shook her. The ball of fire had disappeared, and in its place stood the tall, dark silhouette of a man-shaped figure. Harper and her friends ran away terrified.
It sounds like
Um,
she just saw a man. I'm just gonna be honest. Like the fire went out and she looked up and there was a man silhouette.
Just out of curiosity, because the second sighting happened in 1952. When was the Harper sighting?
It was before the official sighting.
So it's sometime, like, I'd say, I'm just going to give it a date range, 1949 to 1951.
Oh, okay. So
no.
it was within a few years.
Look,
I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Oh.
All right, so
God damn it.
I'll give you the damn range. Let's see. It's 1952 to the
Well, that's the second sighting is in 1952.
1952 to 1955 are the
Okay.
last two sightings.
Okay.
So I'd say this one was probably like 91 or early 92.
52?
52, yeah.
1891.
51 or 52. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, actually, the timeline makes a lot of sense in terms of the era, because after World War II, there was like a massive influx of this type of activity. So like Eisenhower era into like, JFK Nixon era, there was like a ton of this shit. And whether
that's because aliens gave us nuclear science, and so
Actually,
they were doing a bunch of negotiations in the back,
do you know
coming
how
and
much?
going.
Do you know how much I hate that theory?
yo,
I fucking hate it. As an engineer, my father was a physicist. It negates like huge advances that like very smart people made. Like, we did it. It wasn't with help from aliens, god damn it.
That's what they want us to believe.
So I have to recant what I said. Actually, the third sighting, because there were 3 sightings in total: the Harper family, the group of kids and the adults,
The kids.
and and essentially, I think it's the Levy family is the last one, or
Okay.
no, the May family.
Okay.
No, god damn it,
I
I
got
have to
second
look at
sighting.
this thing.
Second sighting was May. Let's see. Third sighting was
Snitwowski.
Snitwowski.
Yeah. So basically,
Snitwowski.
those 3 sightings, like the Snitwowski sighting, took like place within a day or two after the official one.
yeah.
But the first one took place, I think, within like a week or two. So I was
Okay.
wrong. This is like
It's like
a lightning flash of paranormal.
Very quick. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
that lends credence to like actual like the validity of this, I'd say, because if it's over a few years, like this is why the Mothman is so like credible to me, is because it happened over about like 8 months, and like a shit ton of people saw it and a shit ton of people had after effects from it. So like I like that this one is like within a very contained time, which means like it wasn't like the rumor mill got started, people started saying like, I'm seeing the Greys, like, which is cool. All right, let's get into the second sighting of the creature. All right. At 7:15 p.m. on September 12th, 1952, Fred and Edward May, Tom Hayer, and Neil Nunley were playing in the schoolyard when they witnessed something streak across the sky and crash land on the farm of G. Bailey Fisher. These are great names again. There was reportedly a soft red glow pulsating from behind the hill where the object had landed. The boys rushed to investigate. On the way, they stopped to tell their mother, Kathleen May, the story. The 4 boys, joined by another local kid, Ronnie Shaver. He's probably a bad kid.
These are all real names.
These are all real names. Yes,
Yeah.
they sound like the beginning of it.
Neil Nunley, Ronnie Shaver.
They actually sound like very typical 1950s white people names to me.
No, I mean it's 100%. Yeah, that's
But
because it's the 1950s white people.
I know. Ronnie Shaver to me sounds like he's like a greaser, like he's got his fucking like cigarettes in his fucking shirt.
Yeah, it's John Travolta, baby.
He's Shia LaBeouf from Indiana Jones and the Skull one. God, that was bad. Okay, so the four boys joined by another local kid. I'm gonna reread that. The four boys joined by local street tough Ronnie Shaver, who also witnessed something weird in the sky. Kathy May and West Virginia National
I'm just
Guards.
imagining West Side Story. He's like, hey, you kids want to dance over this?
Yeah. We from across town.
local street tough Ronnie Shaver.
Oh
the
my
other
God.
side of the railroad tracks, if you know what I mean.
Okay. We gotta finish this. Jesus.
Cigarettes
Okay.
like in his pocket, even
Yeah,
though he's
yeah.
slightly underage. Yeah.
Yeah, even though underage back then was like 8 years old. Fucking go buy a pack of smokes when you were 9.
Oh man.
Let me just get through this and we can discuss this. Okay. These fellas and their mom, Kathy May, were joined by West Virginia National Guardsman Eugene Lemon and his dog Richie. After gathering up, they continued on to the Fisher farm to investigate what happened. The dog ran ahead of the group, rounded the hill, and started barking. However, he soon rushed back, tail tucked between his legs, whimpering. All right, the one thing here. The West Virginia National Guard, I think maybe one of the one of the most cited military units in weird shit happening, because they were also there for the Mothman, and it wasn't just like a platoon. They had the armory there, so they sent an entire battalion into Point Pleasant.
You know, I mean, West Virginia is kind of terrifying in and of itself because it's like truly untamed Virginia. So it's just like woodlands and
Down,
woodlands.
down. What's the down?
Yeah, it's just untamed wilderness, and it's kind of fucking cool in its own right. At the same time, it can be downright spooky.
I mean, I'd say it's super rural. I think that especially like certain areas of it, because of like, Point Pleasant has the TNT fields where the army after the war literally buried all these munitions under like a foot of like topsoil. So if you actually go to some of these places, it says like "do not dig" because there's nitroglycerin under here.
There's literally signs that said that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then so you've got like this dense woods, but then you also have like weird sort of military dumping sites, and then you also have a shit ton of coal mining and strip mining like within West Virginia, which I think there's a correlation between mining and UFO sightings and power plants, and mostly nuclear power plants, but the coal plant we saw in Gallipolis and
you know why there's a correlation with nuclear power plants, right?
Well, yeah, of course, they got getting fuel and shit.
Yeah, well, they're coming to check on their progress.
God damn it!
I mean, look,
God damn it!
you're both wrong. It's because digging into the ground interrupts the natural channeling of the earth that the Anunnaki use to manage and get fucking energy from us because we're their slaves for eternity. Rise up, people. Fuck those aliens.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Disclaimer, please, please, please. No one try to go to Area 51 in a big group. You'll all be shot.
All right. Before you tell us what they smelled, I just watched a video. The balls on this guy. I just watched a video of some dude in his car that drove up to the gate of Area 51 and was like, "Yeah, I'm here to see like so and so," and the guy at the gate was like, Do you have a badge? And he's like, no, I don't have a badge. I was told to meet so and so.
Wow.
He's like, I can't. You need to turn around now. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, no, just ask
He'll
You know,
get
he was
shot.
like, yeah, dude. He was like, I'm here to see, I don't know, Bobby Sue. And then when that didn't work, he's like, no, John Smith. Well, how about
Oh
you
my
just
God.
ask like Curly Q? And I'm like, the balls on this. Like, are you fucking stupid? Well, yes, you are fucking stupid.
Wow.
But
That's like, remember? Do you guys remember when like there was that like thing where people were gonna storm Area 51,
Yeah, and
like
like
on the
5
internet?
people showed up.
Yeah. So, okay, I have a lot of Area 51 stories, but I'm only gonna tell one. First DEF CON I went to was DEF CON 5 in 1996. I was with my father and my friend Dane, and my dad is the one who introduced me to Coast AM, and he is a huge conspiracy guy. He loves this shit. So, uh, you know, at this time I was 14 years old, maybe 15, and my dad's taken us to Vegas for a hacker conference, which is questionable. But I met a few guys, and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna go like out to the desert. We're gonna shoot some guns, and we got a weather balloon, and we're gonna get close to Groom Lake and launch it." And I was 14, so I was like, "Fuck yeah!" So we go out there, we shoot a bunch of guns, we get the fucking weather balloon, and these guys were like, "We're not going within like miles of this, even the signs that say we will shoot you. We're just going to launch the weather balloon. We're probably 10 miles out from those signs, which means like 40 miles out from the base, right?" And as soon as it hits, like it's a weather balloon, so it goes up real fast, real high. As soon as it hit probably like 60,000 feet, fucking F-18s
yeah, that doesn't
strafing.
surprise
It's
me
fucking
at
crazy.
all.
Yeah.
And I will say in the video that I saw, I will give the guard a lot of credit because he was patient, man. Like
Yeah.
he was, you know, I give credit where credit's due. He was being patient and was like, just turn the fuck
Like,
around, dude, and just drive down the road.
he's just trying to give the guy good advice. Like,
Like,
Well, I
like
mean, it's not okay. So I was listening. God damn it! All right, we're gonna save this for down the road. We know
yeah,
what we're
okay,
getting
yeah,
into.
all right,
yeah,
Let's move on.
yeah. Uh,
all right. So, what
um,
did they smell, Max?
okay. All right. So this group of kids and local street toughs and National Guardsman and his dog said they smelled and saw a foul sulfuric metallic mist begin to cover the ground. Some later claimed to have throat irritation, vomiting, and nausea, which presented for days, several days. Eugene Lemon, the guardsman, suffered convulsions that night. Symptoms consisted with mustard gas. Upon reaching the top of the hill, they witnessed a big ball of fire about 50 feet in the air. Some of their group claimed it was the size of a house. Lemon shined his flashlight in the opposite direction to his house and saw a tall, quote, man-like figure under the branches of a large oak tree. He had a round, red face, circular-like window with pale blue beams shooting out from it. His head was surrounded by a pointed hood-like shape, and he appeared to be wearing a dark metal dress. Okay. The dress gets me.
Yeah, why
He's
isn't it like a dark metal robe or
I bet it.
a dark
I bet it.
metal kilt
I bet it
or
was one of those lead-lined robes you get at the dentist that he spray painted that black.
when you get X-rays done?
Yeah, yeah.
Did they even have those in the 50s?
Oh yeah. I don't
You
think they
know,
had the X-rays, but they had the robes for other things.
the most important thing to really take out of this is that gas. Like
I
it
was gonna get to that. Yeah.
because it was spilling out of the ship, and it had symptoms consistent with mustard gas.
Yeah.
You know,
So
it's
mustard gas, incredibly easy to make at home. People do it by accident all the time. Bleach and pine sol will kill someone. It's how it creates the chlorine.
Oh,
from
I
the gas.
never realized that that was technically mustard gas.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I knew you shouldn't combine because it's bleach and ammonia essentially that you
Yeah,
shouldn't
exactly.
combine.
Yep.
So
I didn't realize that was basically the same thing as mustard
It creates technically part of mustard gas, because I think mustard gas is chlorine gas plus something else, but it creates like a chlorine gas that does the same
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah.
was
So
that
like
chlorine and pine sol?
uh, bleach and pine sol.
Okay.
So yeah, chlorine, same thing.
Because it's basically chlorine and ammonia that you don't.
Yeah.
Ammonia that you don't want to combine.
Yeah. So like I don't know. My mom was always hitting on this when I was a kid. Like if I was ever cleaning or doing the dishes, doing chores, she's like just be. If I ever had bleach, she was always like, I don't know why, but she was terrified I was gonna mix the two.
I can see why.
She walks out for 10 seconds, comes back in. You got a bucket, just like a little bit of bleach, a little bit of
Yeah.
I'm wearing a mask, and I'm just like, we'll see what happens.
You're just like looking at your mom, and you're like, science, bitch.
Actually, she was definitely right to harp on that, because I did a lot of fucking like chemistry experiments. But yeah, no, I like that. I like that little touch, the gas, because it's like the convulsions. So if Eugene Lemon, the guardsman, got the closest, which I assume he did because he's the guardsman, and he had convulsions that night, and everyone else got like a severe throat irritation, probably eye irritation. If they got closer or got a higher concentration, they could have gone temporarily or permanently blind. Like, it's interesting, and especially a National Guardsman in the 1950s would actually know very clearly the effects of mustard gas.
Actually, if you deconstruct this, it makes a very plausible case for one of the greatest mysteries in the universe. And what I mean by that is this: like when that mustard gas was escaping the alien, you could tell he was probably just as afraid as we were. So
Yeah.
what he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
doing was letting out his mustard gas as like
Yeah.
a fear mechanism,
like a skunk.
or like
Well,
we
actually-
do, or like we do when we fart. And so basically, what I'm trying to say is very clearly,
Do you fart when you're scared?
baked beans are the only thing that can travel intergalactically, which is the universal question we had at the start of this, and
You're
it
right.
is
You're totally right.
officially answered.
hmm I was actually going to say this is actually more plausible. My thought. So this is the series of events, right? They see the fireball. The gas is kind of pouring out, and if it's anything, actually the description sounds like mustard gas too, because mustard gas is heavier than air, so it kind of just like flows along the ground, which is why it was used in World War I, because it goes into the trenches. If when Eugene turned around, he turned his flashlight to look at his house. That's where he saw the monster, away from the discharge, the gas. So it could have been like the being's ship discharging some sort of toxic gas that's generated on entry or during travel.
Yeah, that.
And then he was like,
immune
"I'm gonna
to it.
go over to this tree." Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, because he just landed on a planet that he's not sure if it's hostile or not.
Yeah.
To aliens, it is. So yes, bring your fucking mustard gas and hit a couple
Kind
like
of a dick
of us.
move on the aliens' part, though. If like
Yeah.
their first contact setup is like, all right, wherever you land, just gas the shit out of anything in any sort of radius, just to make sure. I mean, it's a dick move, man.
I think it was an accident. I think it was a byproduct of propulsion.
What I'm trying to say is we have a fucking name for that dick move, and it's called Monster. At the beginning of the episode,
Colonialism.
I
was gonna say we have a name for it. It's crop dusting.
It's kind of like white people coming over to America and putting smallpox on blankets and giving it to the natives. So
Maybe
I mean,
you know what? What if it was his shit? You know, he just took a giant dump, and he looks up, and there's a bunch of people seeing him taking this giant dump. You know, I'd be terrified too, especially if you got mustard gas smelling fucking poo because you've been chugging baked beans all day.
all right, Max. What happened after He
Yeah.
noticed the monster at the house.
Totally had something and you've lost me. Okay. The figure made a hissing sound and glided towards the group. Then switched direction and started heading towards the ball of flame.
God, I need
Lemons.
toilet paper.
Jesus.
I didn't realize this was gonna turn into a poop episode, but
Mine's
continue.
on fire.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. If I hear anything about colonials invading North America or any other country within the next 2 episodes, I'm going to break something. Okay? So let's.
What? Then you should break something because I already did it.
I know. That's your warning.
That's my warning.
That's your warning.
Right. I'll try real hard, buddy, but it's just applicable to so many things.
I know. I'm just so done with fucking Roanoke. Okay.
Hold on. The dog's barking. You guys continue the episode.
Okay, I'll keep going. Kirby's got some colorful language in here. Lemon screamed like a bitch, fainted, and dropped his flashlight, causing the group to grab him and run away, dragging his body. The terrified dog ran after him. The local sheriff and a deputy investigating the area for a crashed aircraft, they found, heard, and smelled nothing out of the ordinary. Lee Stewart Jr. of the Braxton Democrat searched the farm the next day. He found skid marks.
Someone make a poop joke.
I knew it. I told you. He took a giant shit.
Yep. He probably couldn't wipe adequately either. Leading
He was
down.
like a dog. He sat down and like dragged his ass.
He found skid marks leading down the hill towards a large area of matted grass and an odd gummy deposit, which, according to UFO enthusiast groups, is evidence of a saucer landing.
So I would like everyone at home to just know that Kirby is the one, Crook is the one that writes these outlines, and I think from the beginning, from the way this is written, he just wanted a fucking poop joke filled episode.
Yep.
No, I wasn't even thinking of
Leading
poop
down the hill with
until
his
it hit me.
gummy deposit.
I was like, what if he's shit in the woods? You know what? I wouldn't want an audience either, and I'd probably be terrified.
I'm surprised that fucking all of a sudden Lemon, the fucking guardsman who's like leading the crew, screamed and fainted.
I know, what a little bitch.
What the fuck?
It's like preschoolers dragged you back. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Throw
you
your
were dragged.
goddamn flashlight at it or something.
I'm guessing the local street tough was on his motorcycle at the time and was like, I'm dragging him back.
They were probably like, we need to go back and advise a plan because it's the 1950s and that's how these movies work.
Yeah. Harrison Ford to Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
You're not my kid. All right. Okay, so at the end of this, we're talking about UFO enthusiasts. Say this is evidence of a flying saucer. I'm gonna bring up my father again. He is a MUFON investigator, which sounds impressive, but it really only costs about $300, and you need to read the training manual. But he's into it, so there has to be more than this matted grass. Nowadays, maybe back then it's different, but like MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, which is, I'd say, the more scrupulous of the public UFO groups. There's another one that's kind of they all argue with each other. They're very bitchy. They have a whole field handbook for this shit, and they actually, it's not just matted grass they want to see now, or matted, stuff that's pushed down. They want to see like evidence of a landing gear, like
imprints,
imprints, or sometimes burns because of it's entering atmosphere. And that's usually, they won't take, because I think they've refined it like a lot. Like even in the 90s, it had been refined because that's when my dad was really into this. They like when you were questioning someone or doing an investigation of a site of a landing, it was like there were like I don't know 20 different indicators, and you had to like in order for MUFON to take it seriously and actually send more investigators, you had to have like 10 out of 20 or something.
Huh.
So yeah,
Seems
it's
like a good
interesting.
system.
Yeah, we're gonna bring up in this next part. We're gonna bring up my fucking idol. This guy is a just mustachioed ladies man swashbuckling journalist of a badass.
Yep. And his
got
name is George.
No.
Dowski.
He I'm sorry, used to have one of the best Van Dykes on the planet. You know, like the mustache and beard. Also, always dressed impeccably like the 1950s man he was. Okay, we're just gonna get into it. Just saying his name makes my heart beat faster.
I actually have one of his books lying around somewhere. I need to read them.
I've got 3 of them, and I read all of them. The Fickle Finger of Death. Oh my God, that's
Look.
what Twin Peaks was based on.
Not to do a product advertisement, but I'm technically reading the Dictionary of Demons every day. So
it is such a good reference. It should be on your desk. Everyone, just sitting there like the physician's desk reference.
And put it right next to the Anarchist Cookbook, because that makes another great coffee table read.
Yeah. And the Mothman Prophecies and the Fickle Finger of Death.
And 4 boxes of 70s.
and a carton of fucking Cools.
And for some reason, a Lego Harry Potter wizard set. It was Wizard's Chest, so we'd play it every once in a while. Anyway,
I know.
Go on.
Okay. All right. The final sighting of the creature. My man, the illustrious John Keel, interviewed a couple in 1955. On the day after the 12th, when the incident took place, a second sighting occurred near Strange Creek, about 20 miles south of Flatwoods at night on a deserted road.
I mean, where else is it gonna happen?
I know, come on.
It's literally named Strange Creek.
God. I would love to read the John Keel write-up on this because he's got some of the best sort of like prose and like he would probably say something along the lines of it was cited at the aptly named, strangely named Strange Creek. Like, that's totally how he would write it.
I need to read this dude. He's awesome.
I thought you read some of the Mothman Prophecies.
I don't think I read the Mothman Prophecies. I saw the movie. Starred Richard Gere.
Yeah, as John Keel, but like had nothing to do with nothing.
Listen, if he's Richard Gere, then he's already stolen my heart, and that's gonna be the name of my Mothman biography.
Like, look, I know they had to update it or whatever for whatever it was fucking made, and I want to say that I wasted like $10 on Amazon buying that piece of shit movie.
I, however, like the Mothman Prophecies, but go on.
Oh god, he played such a bad version of John Keel. Like the only thing they had in common with the man was his name. Like the character he played was this fucking like loser from Seattle who like was shabbily dressed and his hair was all matted and shit and no mustache, no Van Dyke at all. Listen, I don't think the man owned a double-breasted suit.
You gotta suspend disbelief. Kind of like when I watched the Star Wars prequels. I'm like, there's no fucking way the Jedi are this goddamn stupid that they'll walk into a Sith Lord's office and not see the Sith artifacts standing right in front of them. Nope. I have to believe that they are, so I suspend my disbelief.
Okay. I'm just gonna say
that's the whole point of the prequels, Kirby, is that
they're stupid.
Well, not just no, not
they've been lulled into complacency,
arrogant, and through that arrogance led to ignorance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that John Keel is one of my favorite writers.
But I
And-
mean, come on. Palpatine practically had a "I'm a Sith Lord" mug on his fucking office desk. It's-
Yeah,
Okay, go on. Sorry.
he kind of did, didn't he? Anyways, John Keel, the man, the legend. All right. Strange Creek, 20 miles south of Flatwoods, at night on a deserted road. George and Edith Snitowski were driving through the rural area between Clay and Braxton County on a Route 4 with their 18-month-old son, where the car suddenly died. A foul, sulfurous smell began to fill the air, and the baby began to cry. Suddenly, a strange, bright light filled the darkness, and the couple witnessed a 10-foot-tall being floating in front of their car. The description was similar to the second sighting. However, the creature was no longer wearing its hood. Instead, its head was reptilian and bony. The creature dragged its reptilian hands across the hood and drifted away into the woods. As soon as it was gone, the car started. The couple also witnessed a luminous, pulsating sphere rise from the trees and ascend into the sky. I want to read John Keel's interview with them because I'm sure he's got a lot of cool shit to say. This is very similar to one of the first alien abduction stories. What are their names? Fred and something. I'm gonna look it up. Sorry. Uh, oh God, who was it? Barney and Betty Hill. So this is really similar to the Barney and Betty Hill incident, which almost was exactly like this without the kid in the back. They're driving along a deserted road. Car just full tank of gas. They're just trying to get home from a cocktail party or something because it was the 50s and that's what you do. And car just like starts to just roll to a stop, and they got out and witnessed a alien ship landing, were abducted, and had a bunch of lost time that was recovered through hypnotic regression. But it's interesting that this is that similar in my mind because this is like the beginning of the Betty and Barney Hill. Fun fact: they were an interracial couple in the 50s and actually were discredited because of that. Typical. They were also severely wounded and scarred mentally by it too. Like after the hypnotic regression, like Barney wouldn't even talk about it, and Betty, after Barney died of a heart attack, Betty went on to talk at UFO conventions and stuff and embraced it, but she was still also terrified of it, like that it would happen again to her, because if you listen to the tapes are out there, the tapes of their hypnotic regression are terrifying.
And
fucking terrifying.
We'll actually cover that story at some point.
I think we should. It's very interesting.
In this case though, it's slightly different because they recalled it all. They didn't require.
Well, yeah,
any
they weren't
hypnotic
abducted
stuff.
or anything.
Yeah.
They didn't get out of the car. They didn't get out of the car, which was smart. And I would, yeah.
On top of that, there's reason to disbelief these guys. Namely because it came out 3 years later after this story was already big across the nation. So I'm dubious of any accounts that come up similar after the initial one.
Yeah, I don't like that. And I'm positive that Mr. Keel would mention that.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to read his theories on this.
Yes.
But let's continue on.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to the public reaction. All right. America was seduced by the story, as Americans were at the time by any of these stories. Newspapers ran the incident throughout the country. Radio broadcasts were carried on large networks. Hundreds of people called in reporting stuff. Ufologists, if you want to be a dick about it, or UFOologists, if you don't want to be a dick about it, such as Gray Barker and Ivan T. Sanderson, came to investigate the area. I've heard of Gray Barker, not Ivan. Gray Barker helped perpetuate the story. He helped write the descriptions of the monster and introduce the concept of the Men in Black to it. Friends of Gray have stated that he literally made these sensational and knew it.
Yeah, see,
Not
so
not uncommon.
that's a problem. One of the
That's a
biggest
big
problems
problem.
that we typically have with UFO cases like this is that people get in and they do what is essentially called trolling.
Yeah,
This guy exasperated details, added in the Men in Black
exaggerated. Yeah.
who were never there, and
Yeah.
brought the story to a more fantastical setting, which means we can't nail
Wants that
down the
moolah.
facts.
Yeah. I actually so I can't remember if Barker was the same guy, but I think Barker was the guy that was suspending hubcaps from a tree and shooting them with like really like some wax over his camera lens on like like an 8mm camera and passing them off as UFO sightings. Like literal Buick hubcaps.
I like the entrepreneurship.
I mean, this is back when you could make money. See, nowadays it'll just ruin your life.
Yeah, back then you could be like UFO, sweet.
Yeah.
I shook hands with him. You know, I had a sandwich at the UFO. Here's a
Yeah,
T-shirt that
absolutely.
says "I love UFOs."
Yeah. So I see there's two possibilities behind this guy, right? So his friends say that he purposely exaggerated. He could be like one of those. He could be like those Bigfoot hunters who like will put like a monkey suit frozen in a block of ice in a cooler and then say like, we got a Bigfoot body, who wants to buy it? Just they believe in Bigfoot. They just need to get the money and the funding and the hype to get it. They're just going about it in the wrong way.
No, you know what this guy is?
He's a dick.
No, here's what he is exactly. He's if ghost hunters use TikToks. he's a fucking ghost hunting TikTok star.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So he's making up facts to make it cooler for himself so he can get the right pose and make the money as an
Jesus.
influencer.
God, I hate TikTok. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, I can't remember if it's the same guy, but I think it's the same guy because I know the name. I think it's the same dude who was doing the thing with the like hubcaps in the 70s or the 80s. But let's get okay. So the story was rated number 11 for the year by the National Press Services. The public during this time was constantly on edge. The country was in the midst of the Cold War. Bomb scares and stories of UFOs ran high during this time. It was a mixing pot of anger, disillusionment, and anxiety. It actually promoted an investigation from the U.S. Air Force. I love this. Project Blue Book. 2 Air Force investigators showed up in Flatwoods posing as magazine writers, blamed the incident on hysteria and an owl and a meteor.
And then 70 years later, during the height of COVID, they'll just release videos being like, yeah, this shit we can't explain, and no one will pay attention because we've got more important shit to deal with.
Yeah, God, I love plot. If anyone wants a good sort of read, dig into the history of Project Blue Book. It's an amazing period in U.S. history when the government and like literally some of the worst people who've ever lived, Alan Dulles and like the people who created the CIA, funded this exploration into UFOs and got some like extremely smart people. Jacques Vallée is a scientist. Stanton Friedman, who is a literal nuclear physicist, and John Keel, like all these guys worked on this. And they are legit guys, and every single one of the scientists quit Project Blue Book because the spooks had decided that it was too much and turned it into a psyop instead of actual research.
So the most important thing to actually take away from this entire paragraph is that the country was in the midst of hysteria.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They were in the middle of the Red Scare. They had all these publications sitting there going, boom, 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 UFOs, 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 aliens. And the whole thing was just like it was the perfect bomb waiting to explode, which
Oh yeah.
means that would warp their perception of reality to where a twig in the forest could be a viper.
Or an owl and a meteor spotted at the same time equals Flatwoods Monster.
Truthfully, like the craziest thing about this case is as I started to read it and started to get to the logical explanation, which we're going to get into in a second,
Yep.
I went, yeah, okay, this alien can exist. And then
Yeah.
I looked at the other side and I went, oh, he can. They're glazing over some of the things that happened in this
Yeah.
logical explanation and just using it to fit their own narrative.
What's interesting to me on the Project Blue Book side is that this was early on in the history of Project Blue Book. This was when they were actually taking this shit seriously, and that it was so early on. Even these two Air Force guys showed up undercover, basically, and then blamed it on hysteria and an owl and a meteor. Um, but like the it's interesting to me that so like there was two sides to Project Blue Book and they were sort of air gapped. There was the scientific research side, and then the military / CAA side, which it seems to me here they didn't even bother with the scientific research. They sent two Air Force investigators, more likely, psyops officers,
Yeah,
to
because
discredit it.
why would they? I mean,
Yeah.
the okay, you're the top of the fucking military chain of command, and they come up to you and they're like, "Hey, they think an alien landed in West Virginia." You'd probably be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You think some fucking moonshine drinking motherfucker saw an alien? Of course
Oh
they
my
saw a
god.
goddamn alien. Send our like lowest two lieutenants over there,
Yeah.
cause I'm in the middle of dealing with actual shit from Russia." Like they were.
I mean, they were. The funny thing is, during this time, the CIA and the American military and the Air Force funded some of the strangest shit that was they used the Cold War as an excuse. It what's
the gay
that?
bomb.
Yes, the gay bomb. That was
The
a true
gay
thing.
bomb, which is
Yeah,
a real thing.
is a real thing. The remote viewing uh department that the CIA had that ran for years and cost American taxpayers close to like $1 billion, which had about a 10% success rate or something. That's what they said. I actually have heard stories that it had more like an 80% success rate. They just don't want you to know. Um, but like, and Project Blue Book. But Project Blue Book was actually one of the more serious things because there were people during this time. People were reporting all this shit, and again, it was interesting that every single scientist said some of these aren't credible, but the credible ones need to be investigated, and we need to investigate it in a scientific manner, and we need to investigate it a certain way. And the Air Force and the CIA were basically like, nah, we're actually going to use these things in certain ways. We'll either discredit them or we'll use them to discredit people, because we'll make it seem so stupid that when someone talks about it, we'll discredit you scientists. Stanton Friedman, we'll discredit you. Like,
All right, then
that's what happened.
let's discredit this alien. Logical
Let's do it.
explanation of the case. Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's break this shit down. All right. The main and most famous sighting, which I believe was the street tough and the guardsman.
Yep.
And various other characters. Both sightings were published after the most famous one came to light. The monster could have been a byproduct of this time. 4 youngsters from Braxton County, 3 youngsters and a local street tough from Braxton County had been murdered. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, what?
Wow.
Okay. Hold on. Jesus
you
Christ.
were really excited about that.
Oh,
you even characterized the kid you murdered. Good job.
Yikes. Okay. I need to read about this more to understand this. Okay. 4 youngsters from Braxton County had been murdered by communists in Korea from Okay, I read that wrong.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
from that. Well,
Right,
because
yeah.
the Korean War is
Yeah,
going on
yeah,
right
sorry,
now, right?
I'm sorry.
Let's
Yeah,
just
it is.
spend 3 hours on the murdered part of the fucking
This is crazy.
podcast.
Okay, so that's crazy. So Braxton County is probably pretty small. They were murdered in Korea prior to this, and the country was in the middle of the second Red Scare and the Korean War. Therefore, trying to track the unknown, the group was already in a heightened state of stress and anxiety, which could distort their version of the fearsome reality of the monster, a feeling Crook and I know very well.
Yeah, you do, because you almost killed a beaver in West Virginia.
I did.
No.
Man, it was scary as shit.
Dude,
It was
okay,
like,
it wasn't.
oh,
It was a little spooky. We were walking down the roads and the TNT factories at like midnight,
on
and
Halloween.
we hit this stream that's like an inch deep, and
I thought it was so much deeper. I thought it was mud. I thought it was like a fucking creek.
and
But it
Max
was
was
just
like,
like this little like.
Max is like, I give up. And I'm like, this isn't how you fucking forage a river. So, so
I thought it was huge.
at that point, we hear like a splash, and Max reaches
It's
for his
not-
gun.
It's not a splash.
Yeah,
It sounded like someone dumped a rock in a very shallow bog.
yeah. So Max reaches for his gun.
Like
and,
what beavers do when they slap their tails, bro.
yes,
It seems logical now. I
So-
get it. I get it.
So Max reaches for his gun, right? And I'm like, what are you gonna shoot? Like, if it's a fucking ghost, it's just gonna shoot right through it. What is the point of a fucking gun right now?
Well, okay, so just to kind of give some background, I conceal carry like a lot, and when we were doing this out where the TNT fields are, there's a lot of private fields too. And actually, when we scoped it out during the day, we heard someone doing some target practice, and it was hunting season. So I had the gun on me for a few reasons. Just if like we heard like a rifle shot near us, I wanted to make sure that we could like I could make a sound or a loud crack that someone knew we were in the area,
Or a banjo.
or a banjo. Or if I heard someone blowing on a jug, I could shoot that jug out of their fucking hand.
So specific.
I
Or
know.
a beaver splashing the
Or-
water.
A beaver. We could have gone home with some beaver skin hats, Kirby.
Goddamn fucking beavers.
Oh
But
my god.
look, just so that's the background. I am like a super controlled, safe gun owner and carrier. Like I
It
have
was-
a ton of qualifications. So I put my hand on the gun in the holster, right? That's it. And then Kirby went down to the other igloo. I heard another splash while he was down at the other igloo, and when he comes back, I had taken the gun out of the holster. My finger was not on the trigger. I wasn't pointing at anything. It was just in my hand. And he's like, "What the fuck are you thinking you're gonna do with that thing?"
Dude, it was like that part in Robin Hood Men in Tights where I'm like, Max, I'm on the
Yeah.
east side, I'm on
Yeah,
the west
It
side.
really was. I had this in my head. The thing that Kirby crossed was a bog, and that like we
Like
were
it was
gonna
the
go
Nile
through it.
fucking river.
Yeah, I realize now because we went there the next night and I went through it and I was like, oh wait, it doesn't even like go over the soles of my shoes. But
What a difference shadows can make, right?
yeah, and Kirby's just like, I'm going for it. He's wearing fucking sandals or something.
Dude, I don't give a fuck.
I know. I just was like, I thought it was super deep, and it was cold out, and I was like, I don't get my feet all wet, like, I get the truck all muddy and blah blah blah. And in reality, yeah, it was like Robin Hood Men in Tights. Like, I'm on the east bank, I'm on the west bank. Like, you could literally jump across it. But yeah, the beaver thing was silly. I think the gun at that time and that moment, I think holding it gave me some sense of security, even though it doesn't make any sense. Even if I didn't realize at the time it wasn't a beaver, if I thought it was something supernatural, interdimensional, whatever, what am I gonna shoot? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna shoot the Mothman.
They probably have armor that can deflect a bullet. It's like,
Well,
ting.
I think a bullet would go right through the Mothman because he's phased interdimensionally. Like it would
Yeah.
maybe it would go into another dimension and kill a child in another dimension.
And I'd be like, hey, Max, great job. We could have observed the Mothman, but now he's focused on us. And
Yeah.
really pissed off because you shot a bullet through him.
Yeah. But then I don't even know.
All I'm thinking is, pew, pew, pink eye.
Yeah, exactly. Or like one shot, like, oh my god, my eyes, and then just like a bunch of other shots. The funny thing about this is Kirby played it cool. Kirby was like, we were both like, we heard the splash, we both were startled, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And like Kirby's like, I don't know, man. It sounded like someone dropped a big old fucking rock. And then Kirby goes down with a camera to fucking film himself in the thing. And in the igloo, I didn't find this out till I was editing. In the igloo, he's like, I didn't want to tell Max, but I think it was a beaver. So he let me fucking flip my shit because like what do I know about beavers? Like, and then he comes back, and in the truck, it wasn't even till we got back to the truck when he's like, "Do you think beavers live around here?"
Yeah, I was gonna let him live in that. I was like, oh, this is beautiful.
Oh,
It was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing. I have to say, it's probably one of the best gags ever. Such a good gag. I almost shot a beaver.
So yes, Max has gone beaver hunting in the backwoods of West Virginia.
Yeah. And I went back there
accidentally too.
Accidentally.
Ansley and I, my girlfriend and I went back there like recently, like a couple months ago, and we went to that same track with the igloos, and the fucking beavers had taken that tiny little fucking trickle of water and dammed it up, and it actually was the torrent that I thought it was that night.
Well, that's because you pissed him off. You drew a gun on one of your beaver brethren.
I was literally thinking about going and getting some of those beaver dam busters, at the hardware store, and just blowing it up.
Oh, good.
That's fucked up, man.
I'm pissed at those fucking beavers.
I'm sure starting a war with beavers.
Home and blew it up.
Starting a war with beavers in West Virginia, Max.
This is
pretty dope. Lose that war, son.
You know what? I don't care. It's a matter of honor at this point. I'm going to war with beavers.
They just snack on your tires.
I know. There's probably there'll be like a gang of 12 of them out there just slapping their tails on the sidewalk in front of my apartment. Just like the funny. When I got home, I didn't want to tell Kirby this, but I went out and I did a Google search for what a beaver sounds like when it slaps its tail on water. And it was exactly that. I had to know. I had to know. Okay, let's get back into the Flatwoods monster.
We're trying to beaver hunt in Flatwoods too.
That was pretty good.
The spacecraft. After investigating the case in 2000,
whoa, we didn't even do. Oh yeah, we did. Okay, go on.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. We were still doing the logical stuff, right? So in the year 2000, Joel Nickel, Committee for these are the worst people ever. Committee for Skeptical Inquiry.
Actually, it's Committee for Skeptical Inquiry.
These are the least fun people on the planet.
These are the people that have pocket protectors.
Yeah.
Fanny packs so they don't lose their shit.
God, it's just a bunch of fucking like contrary dicks. Like when they're presented with like any sort of proof, their response is just like, nuh-uh. So Joe Nickel of the Committee for Lame Inquiry concluded that the bright light streaking across the sky was probably a meteor.
I'm glad that he concluded what the military already had 40 years ago.
Yeah. These are the kind of people that use their spare time to do shit like this, like good job, 50 years after the fact. Yeah, yeah, good job, Nickel.
Was he just standing at the computer like, I conclude this. Yeah. Now that Nick Apple says it's okay, it must be official.
Absolutely. Okay. On the night of September 12th, 1952, a meteor had been observed across Maryland, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. The pulsating red lights. Nichols also believed that the pulsating red light was likely an aircraft navigation or hazard beacon. From the hilltop, sightings 3 flashing red aircraft beacons are visible. The skid marks and gooey substance. Local boy, Max Lockhart, admitted to driving around the site hoping to see something. This could explain the skid marks in the mud and grass. Okay, the sickness. Nauseous feeling, vomiting, and throat irritation. Though these symptoms are consistent with mustard gas, they're also consistent with hysteria and overexertion. I have a problem with the word hysteria in there. Mostly because back then, and sometimes still now, people refer to like women's menses as female hysteria. And I have a problem with that. So, but
good. Do you not want hysteria in the podcast from now on?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in the context of this, like when they say that, like
when they
these are symptoms of hysteria. It feels like it's a dog whistle for symptoms of the
They're
menses.
as crazy as women. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I
sadness,
mean,
yeah.
hysteria is an actual.
No, I know. I'm kind of digging a little deep there.
Scientific thing. Like,
no, I know,
here,
but
I get it. But there is such a thing
what about
as
those kids that couldn't stop dancing?
mass hysteria. You know,
Do
and
you know
that's
what I'm talking about?
I do.
And that's when like a group of people see the same thing, kind of like what happened on this night.
Or those kids who just dance till they died.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
Legitimately.
It's like a whole town or village or whatever.
It was in Korea, right? Like South Korea. I thought it was.
It's happened a few times in places.
But I think it's more common in like South Korea or Japan or something where like kind of like there's a group an ingrained cultural groupthink a little bit. But yeah, that hysteria is a legitimate thing. I just think I don't know. I don't know why I draw umbrage with it here. Overexhaustion, yeah, but also like, I mean, can we really trust Mr. Lemon or Guardsman Lemon because he did pass out like a bitch?
Yeah, like immediately. He didn't even
was
try
the one
to fight the thing.
He had convulsions that night, so maybe he was just so scared. He was just like up shivering, like, oh no.
Yeah, that alien is lucky I wasn't there, because I would have been like, hey, Mr. Alien guy, hey, nice spaceship you got there. You got a little rocket ship. You love the rocket. How about you rocket these nuts? Because you just destroyed part of my property, and either you're paying for that in space cash, or I'm seeing it in West Virginia money, aka
Space
moonshine.
cash.
Space cash.
You ask for space cash and he just hands you a can of beans.
I know.
This will get you safely where you need to
It's
go.
the intergalactic currency. The only food that can travel intergalactically. Canned beans.
Canned chicken or something. He's lucky I wasn't there. I would have fucking shot his ass.
And it would have just tinged off his like advanced armor.
His metal dress, man.
His metal dress, yeah. I knew that touch was pretty good. He was wearing a metallic dress.
And then
like
you would hear
like he's Lady Gaga.
And then you would hear Jarvis just be like, "Threat identified."
And it's just me with my 9mm, like, fuck you, Al. You're worse than the beavers.
Planet hostile. Exterminate.
Just because of this douchebag.
Yeah, you're like, welcome to America, dickhead. It's immediately shoots him. That's the most American thing you can do.
It really is. I know. Oh god, didn't point the gun. Didn't even put my finger on the trigger. Just had it in my hand in case.
I mean, at least Will Smith waited until they either took or started attacking our planet or were a comedian on stage before they slapped him.
Okay. I was watching. We were Ansley and I were in in a restaurant / bar the other night that actually really like because it's got pinball and skee ball and dollar oysters on Wednesdays.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
when I sit facing the door for a lot of reasons, and the TV that's always playing that I can see in my view is always playing Sci-Fi Channel, and that this Wednesday it was playing Independence Day 2, and I'm watching it and I'm like, fuck, man, they got like Jeff Goldblum, Britt Spiner back. They got the guy who played the president back, and Will Smith decided to pass on this. Like, these are big stars. And I'm like, when was it made? Like 2018. And I'm just like, why would he turn? It's bad. It's not good.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, okay, you got
That
Jeff
shit came out in 2018.
Yeah. You got Jeff Goldblum being Goldbluming it up, which is great. You got Brent Spiner being fucking batshit. And if you don't, Brent Spiner played Data on Star Trek Next Generation. Being crazy. There was some good parts of it. The bad parts were the F-18s that they had flying around space. But yeah, I was basically like, what the fuck has Will Smith done really recently besides slap Chris Rock? Like, what besides Emancipation? What has he done besides talk about how his wife cheated on him with a friend of their kids and then brought him on their podcast?
Whoa. It was an open relationship.
I know. Like, that's what they said after it happened.
It was an open marriage, buddy.
God damn. All I could think was, like, I'm watching this, and I have seen the movie before, and I'm watching it with no sound, with the subtitles on, with commercials.
Just waiting for Will Smith to come out from the side of your screen and just slap the shit out of you.
God damn,
you know what? That's going to be
awesome.
the best Nike commercial. You're just sitting there watching fucking something on Hulu, and then Will Smith is like, "Bitch."
He doesn't say bitch. He comes up and he's like,
dropped Kanye.
And then it's like Nike.
he comes up puffed out like, and then God, that clip was just in equal parts pathetic and hilarious. Like,
yeah,
and then Chris Rock's response to it was equal parts awesome and hilarious.
Oh yeah, no, Chris Rock was fantastic. The internet really took it and ran with it. They had one guy in Elden Ring dressed all in black, and all he would do is invade your world, walk up to you and slap you, and then leave.
That is fucking hilarious.
Oh my god, that's Leroy Jenkins good.
And he named himself Will Smith.
Oh my god, he should have named himself the French Prince. All right. Anyways, I digress on Will Smith. I just don't know why. Like, him and Harry Connick Jr. both declined to do the movie, and I'm thinking, like, one, okay, Harry Connick Jr., what the fuck is he doing right now that he can't do Independence Day 2? And two, what the fuck is Will Smith doing right now that he can't do Independence Day 2? That fucking Jeff Goldblum, who's become a way bigger star, did. So, I don't know.
You know, he's doing something important. He's making a sequel to a movie that nobody really cared about past the year that it was released. And the I Am Legend.
Oh, he is making that sequel, right?
Yeah, and so here we are 10 years later where we've forgotten I Am Legend.
Wait, didn't he die at the end of I Am Legend?
Yeah, but they're retconning that because why not?
So I actually remember reading about this. We'll get to the monster in a second, but they are retconning it, and they're basically retconning it in a way that, like, the original book, which I never read, apparently he doesn't die. So they're like making the second one more like the book or some shit. It sounds like a money grab to me, but whatever.
Yeah, clearly that's more important than Independence Day, because people remember Independence Day and nobody remembers I Am Legend until someone says we're making an I Am Legend sequel.
I fucking hate. I don't like zombie movies. I don't like post-apo. I hate fucking Walking Dead.
There's Night of the Living Dead is a great movie.
Yeah, the classics are great.
Great fucking movie. Not really about zombies, right?
Yeah.
Fucking 28 Days Later, great fucking zombie movie.
Oh, that one's
Not really
fantastic.
about zombies.
Danny Boyle is a great director, and he did a great job on that.
Like any great
Cillian
zombie
Murphy.
movie, the zombies are just there as a plot device and nothing else.
Yeah. But I think Walking Dead goes past that to the point where it's a soap opera. And I've read the entire
Yeah,
comic
I never
book.
watched Walking Dead. I think I watched the first season of Walking
First
Dead. and then
season's
just
the
stopped.
only good season. I hated the comic book. I kept reading it thinking it was going to get better. It was a soap opera.
You know,
Anyways.
honestly, the second season of The Walking Dead said, what if we took that example and just took it to the extreme, to a point where zombies, like one or two, will walk past the field, look inside and realize the episode's too fucking boring to be a part of,
Exactly.
and continue on.
Yeah. The only guy who ever actually does anything is the hick with the crossbow.
Yeah, he really is. Like, Daryl, come fix this.
Yeah. Man, I used to have a shirt. I don't know where it went, but it was like, you know, the Archer silhouette, right?
Yeah.
But it was Daryl, and it just said Archer. It was like a crossover shirt.
You know, I saw a tree graph one time that summed it up perfectly. It was like, is there a new Walking Dead episode? Yes, no. And then it's like, is Daryl in it? Yes, no. And if you went to yes, it would have this entire thing. And then if you went to no, it's like, it's a bad episode.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, let's talk about this monster. Okay. The shape, movement, and sounds are consistent with the silhouette, flight pattern, and call of a standard barn owl. Owls are nocturnal creatures. Their eyes glow orangish red in the dark, or yellow. They also have feathers, which would explain the folded clothing. Not sure how. Furthermore, they can be green, black, and 10 feet tall if they are clutching a tree branch above dense foliage. Owls have talons. Yep. The witnesses weren't consistent on whether or not the creature had arms. The way May described it perfectly sums up a perched barn owl, as its talons extend in front of it to grasp branches. Owls fly and glide. The face looks like an ace of spades. Furthermore, it's white. This means that red beacons pulsating in the distance would reflect off of it and give it a reddish tint.
It sounds
Okay,
good.
so
Yeah, owls are big.
So just a discussion of the logical explanations.
Yeah.
That sounds good, right? The owl thing. What I don't really like is there's not an explanation for the gas.
Yeah. They just say
right?
hysteria.
Like,
And
that's
this
the
is
one
yeah.
that's weird.
They
Right?
leave out two key points of the sighting. And this is the part where I went, wait a second. This sounds really good, and that's the point, is it sounds really good.
Yeah. That's too good.
Because they're leaving out the two most important parts, and that's the gas and the flaming fucking wreckage off to the
Yeah.
side of the alien. That was
Oh, I
about
forgot
the
about
size
the flaming rectum.
Yeah.
of a house.
Rectum.
As well as the numerous sphere followings that or sightings that followed in the days after.
Yeah. So yeah, this is like classic. What was it? Committee of Skeptical Inquiry. I think fucking God, what's his name?
Committee of Skidmark. I can't think of a good eye. Committee of Skidmark Intelligence.
Yeah, it's
So-
fucking stupid. I'm like, listen, you're not even going to investigate this, and you're going to call yourself a real investigator. What probably
Yeah.
happened is he probably tried to disprove it, couldn't, and just wrote it out of the story.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the dude's name. Can you guys remember the British sort of skeptic? God, what is his fucking name? I can't find it. Whatever. He's a writer. He's like kind of a scientist. He's also apparently Richard Dawkins. You guys heard of him?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah. I really don't like him. He's a total sexist, and he's one of these
I'm not
guys.
a big fan of Richard Dawkins, and who's the other big atheist there?
Hitchens. Christopher
there's
Hitchens.
another one though that's like a neuroscientist.
God, I can't. Finch, maybe.
I can't remember his name. But there's like 3 or 4 of them that really go around the circuits. And like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like I don't necessarily believe in God or gods or anything like that.
But these guys are militant.
But their fanaticism for their ideology mirrors that of like Christian, like religious fundamentalism, where it's
It
like,
does.
how do you not see your own hypocrisy
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
militant they are in the thinking? Yeah, they annoy the shit out of me.
Christopher Hitchens, he did die, and I think in 2011, and he actually had said some really outrageous things, but towards the end of his life, he actually sort of softened and said, like, who am I to fucking tell you what to believe just based on my shit, right?
Yeah.
And he had said some crazy shit in his life. Dawkins has just continually been a complete, just muling anus for his entire life. And I think he's part of this skeptical society, and like it's like when you get to the stuff that's like the gas and stuff, they're like, it's hysteria and exhaustion. There was no fire. It's like, again, they explain part of it and expect that that's just going to fall into place for like some sort of logical review, which skepticism is supposed to be a logical review, which it never is, in my opinion. It's always like a closed-minded, narrow view of something that they apply some proper logic to part of it, and then when it gets to the point where they can't, it is literally, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
You're not my dad.
Honestly, the best way I think about it is that you cannot put a cap on science. You know, like
you can't. Yeah.
If you're sitting there approaching these things, being like, we have to describe in detail exactly how it happened, and you're leaving out crucial details to do that, you're capping science. You're not trying to learn anything here. Instead, you're just trying to make your own reality everyone else's, which is not going to work.
And you know what? You know what also happens to these guys? I don't think they're very happy. Like, you know, like Stanton Friedman, again, nuclear physicist, PhD, incredibly smart guy, actually developed a lot of like microchips and stuff. Was a big part. He died recently. He was a huge part of like the UFO community, and had worked on Project Blue Book, and his approach was so much different than, say, Dawkins. It was, I'm approaching this with an open mind. I'm not going to make any conceptions about anything. I'm going to approach it blank slate and investigate every single part of this. And he is one of the 4 or 5 people that has come up with the theory that Kirby and I share, and I think Alex shares too, that like aliens, Bigfoot, whatever, all these phenomena, Flatwoods Monster, it is a phenomena that is unexplainable, that is only sort of explained by the perception of the person viewing it, because that's what life is.
It's because they're all the same thing. Like they're all 4th dimensional beings. We're seeing snapshots of them as they go about their lives, because that's all we can glimpse of the 4th dimension at any given time is snapshots. Time passes by us at the speed of light. Think about that for a second. And then compare it to how quickly you can see, like, your eyeballs register sight, and you realize that we are a couple clicks behind what's happening to us at any given moment.
Yeah, there's a younger guy. His name is Jordan Nguyen. He's a Australian bioengineer, like biomechanical engineer, and a physicist, a futurist, which is a term I hate, but I actually like him. And he talks a lot about not necessarily like alien stuff, but like how, like, because he does prosthetics that interact with the brain and stuff, and because he works on like with disabled people, blind people, his whole view on like life is exactly that. Like, everything that we see comes in my peepers, and then it's processed by my brain, and that's my version of reality. Kirby's version's different. Alex's version is different. Richard Dawkins is just a miserable one. Like, you know, it's you can't approach this with like the mindset of a skeptic, a quote unquote skeptic. I don't like the way that people use the term skeptic in this sense. They're like, it's a religion for them. Skeptic. They approach things with a preconceived notion that they will discredit it, and that in my mind that actually is a contradiction in terms. They're not skeptical. They're just dicks.
So knowing that we're not skeptical, I think that's a fantastic fucking segue into our otherworldly explanation.
Yeah.
Of the
So let's
case.
get into it. So we're almost done. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. I just really don't like these people. They bother me a lot because, like,
All right, we're moving past it.
Yeah, sorry.
That was my hint.
Yeah, I know it was. I was apologizing. Okay, otherworldly explanations of the case. Could it be an alien / fourth dimensional being? Some things about this case seem off, as we said. The other two sightings, first and foremost, the interviewer of the final sighting was the infamous, the illustrious John Keel. The car shut down, which is consistent with UFO activity, wasn't addressed. The sphere shot into the sky after the being left. That's not a meteor. There were a flurry of reports citing unusual flying objects in the United States. So much so the U.S. government created Project Blue Book. They were mostly worried about the Soviets. Bailey Frame, a resident of nearby Birch River, reported seeing a bright orange orb circling the site of the landing. It was visible for roughly 15 minutes before veering off in the direction of the Sutton Airport. Let's see, the crash landing of the spacecraft. Fireball off to the right of the people on the hill. Onlookers saw it crash on a hill, then a red glow emanated from said hill. The humanoid-like being with the capabilities of flight. Legs not visible. Gliding towards them, then towards the fireball. Which is...
I mean, it could be a suicidal owl. It's just like, fuck this. I'm going for the fire.
Owl's got like barn owls are big, and they got a big old wingspan.
It's like, Phoenix or die, bitch!
Yeah, exactly. 10 feet tall with metallic clothing. Again, not addressed. The glowing eyes, pale blue eyes, that shone through a window like appendage on its face, like it was wearing a helmet. The dog running away from it. Dogs don't just run away from owls. That's totally true. Dogs will bark and bark and bark at an owl.
And that's a big one. Like, it literally ran from the owl, which means something scared it. Whether it be the mustard gas, which didn't appear till after the dog ran, which means it could have startled the creature as well.
Absolutely. So the hissing sounds sound reptilian, just like the face and the claws.
So let's switch perspective for just a second, because let's say you're this alien being. I don't mean this in a comical way, but you land on this alien planet, or you crash there, and you're trying to get your shit figured out because you just called the mothership, and you're like, okay, these things gotta like fucking come pick me up because
I'm out of beans, guys. You gotta come get me,
bro.
Yeah, he's like calling the AAA of the universe. He steps out of his fucking Ford Chevy of Star Wars, and
this Pontiac Fiero
comes running in. This four-legged furry creature snarling and barking and growling at it.
Oh yeah.
Of course he's gonna throw fucking mustard gas at the thing.
Yeah.
In fact, if you think about it, they didn't see the mustard gas till after the dog came back.
That's actually what we do to bears. We spray them with bear spray.
It was probably, I mean, it was very clearly non-lethal, but it drew the animal away.
Yeah, and it made the people sick around it. Like, I don't know if you've ever sprayed mace in a enclosed area, but it'll clear a room for like a week.
And that's just in time for him to disappear, because they had the ship out of there quick, right? Like they were on it.
Oh yeah.
And then the second sighting could have been them doing a reconnaissance, making sure they got
absolutely. Everything. Yeah, and that's what we do. The American military will do if we have a downed airplane. will rescue the pilot, but there's also another operation to destroy the plane and make sure that it's destroyed so nothing gets into, Russian hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it actually, if we're talking about, alien SOP or standard operating procedure, it actually makes sense. A couple days later, they come down and just blow the shit up. Okay, so the hissing sounds, kind of reptilian, like the face. Literally, the description without a helmet is reptilian. Fits one of the supposed alien races, the reptilians, which I'm going to say are not Jews, no matter how much you read. The mist-like substance covering the ground, foul, sulfuric, metallic smell.
You know what's also interesting? A foul sulfuric metallic smell also tends to follow demons.
Oh.
So we could be looking
Interesting.
at like, and this is what I mean by everything converges at one point.
Yeah.
You know, Skinwalker Ranch proves that. Everything is of the same entity on the other side of the fucking glass.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, also I do like, so this is a tiny little detail that I like that, I think maybe like you might miss, but the fact that it's covering the ground, again, mustard gas and chlorine, gas, any sort of like those types of like sort of rudimentary but very effective chemical agents are heavier than air, and they cover the ground and will just move along the ground. And that, again, that's why they were used in World War One, because of the trenches. They would just go and then down into the trenches, and a lot of times people wouldn't even notice because it would have to build up in the trench, and people wouldn't even put their masks on until it was too late. So like that little detail here, like nobody even seemed to address it, but the mention of mustard gas, it computes with the description of this gas.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I like this one. It's cool. I like the way you mentioned it before. It's like this thing like appeared in 1952 for a few weeks and kind of did nothing except for like scare a dog and make a bitch fucking faint.
Just pretty much it. And like I said, he was probably just as terrified. He's like, damn, they got four-legged, like, creepy things on this planet and fainting humanoids. I don't even know if that's like their most powerful attack. Maybe him collapsing on the hill is meant to be a sign of threat on this planet.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, Alex, you seen that Lower Decks episode with where the Orion chick creates a dog, like she genetically engineers a dog, and she names it a dog.
Yep.
So she's Orion, so she's green, and they don't have dogs on Orion, and so she creates this dog, out of like genetic material or whatever, and she's like, it's a totally normal dog, and everyone's like, great, you made a Labrador Retriever, and then like all of a sudden, its fucking head, like its neck opens up and bats fly out of it, and she's like, oh, you're such a little cinnamon roll.
Yeah. Yeah, because she doesn't know what a dog is.
She doesn't know what a dog is, yeah. And it talks and flies and turns into a cube and shit. Like, but like that in my mind, like this alien, it's seeing this furry thing just barking at it, and it could be fucking terrifying. It's probably drooling and shit, and he's probably like, man, that thing's head could open up and bats could come out. I better gas it.
Yeah, like he doesn't know what he's dealing with. The dude just crash landed on the planet. Actually, I have a new theory. It's Samus Aran. She crash landed on the planet and immediately burrowed underground because that's where the Chozo ruins are.
Huh? What? Duran?
Was that anime?
No, Metroid.
What is it? Oh. Samus.
Yeah, it's Samus Aran.
Yeah, sorry.
What? Duran?
Samus.
Samus from Metroid.
One more time. Duran?
It's spelled Gofuck Yoursself.
Kirby, nobody knows her last name. It's Samus from Metroid. I didn't know her last name.
Kenny Kirby Samus? Oh, wait.
Yes. Just say it. Nobody knows her last name. It's Samus.
Everybody knows her. No, it's Samus Aran. I mean, okay, Metroid fans know her last name.
All right, I'm gonna say we should probably wrap this one up at this
Yeah,
point.
it's been
Yeah.
going on for a while.
I know.
I will say before we do the ends, because you guys have always been into this stuff, and this is something that I'm like starting to get into because of doing this podcast with you. And I don't know if I've explained this story to either of you, but I get my hair cut done by a nice woman. But the first time that I went there, she had one of her other customers there. This was like kind of during COVID when things started opening up again a little bit.
Yep.
And it came out that I had the vaccine or whatever. So this dude started going on a rant about
Oh, of course.
witches
Oh
and
God.
demons and aliens. But but that's what I'm saying. I never realized like it seemed crazy, and it was crazy, right? Because he was going on a rant and then it turned into like Jews, like what you were
Yep.
talking, like this
Yep.
crazy shit. But now that we're all doing this and Kirby is saying like the convergence of these things,
Mhm.
I'm starting to kind of see how conspiracy theorists like kind of start combining all of
Yeah.
this shit together.
That's because
And
all of them,
Yeah.
all of them have similar traits.
well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, and I've
That's what
never
happens.
realized that until I started
Yeah.
doing this show with you
So
guys. So it's really starting to open up almost the internal logic of like
conspiracy and shit.
yeah, conspiracy theorists and like even like anti-vaxxers or like
Yeah.
it's starting to kind of open up a lot of that internal
So
logic for me that I just didn't see
yeah.
before. Not
So
saying it's true, not saying
yeah.
like
Yeah.
they're right, but
So here's my problem with. So I love conspiracy theory, and I have forever. It's something I inherited from my father, probably, and I loved the X Files, and you can see conspiracy theory morph and change, just like the political climate, right? It's a pendulum, right? So in the '90s, in the late '90s, when the X Files was on, Clinton was president. Economy was doing great. Weren't fighting 3 wars that we couldn't win. And the conspiracy theory really was about just aliens and a cover up regarding aliens. It wasn't until about 2001 that someone on the internet actually started, like, I can't remember who it was or where it was, but I did read this, like, breakdown of conspiracy theory and how much you can trust a conspiracy theory based on how many pages you get into it to where it gets to anti-Semitic.
You know, I
oh, and
think
yeah,
I
that's interesting.
I
So
honestly think
it swings.
that we should do an episode on conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
Um,
because
though
I love it, but you
I
can't
would
take it to the point.
We should, what would be interesting would be an episode not on specific conspiracy
No,
theories,
just in general. I think that's
but
what
like
Kirby's saying.
the logic or the theory, the theory of conspiracy theories.
oh yeah,
Absolutely,
and
If that
we'll
makes
definitely
sense.
makes
discuss
total
that.
sense.
Although we are at an hour and 53 minutes,
So okay, we're gonna end this, but yeah,
so
like
it's either going to be some heavy cuts or we need to get this out.
yeah, we'll get this out. So yeah, we'll do something on conspiracy theory. I will just say that approach conspiracy theory with an open mind, question everything, don't accept everything.
Yeah.
Don't. That's the what. Accept what is reasonable. So that's all I
Yeah.
gotta say. And we should do an episode on just that. So, I want to say thank you to both of you. I have had a great time doing this, and we're on. This is episode 18 of Crook and Murder, and I can't wait for episode 20 and the next seasons that we got planned because we got some fucking awesome shit planned for you guys.
Hey, I think we can go ahead and reveal what the next season is. I mean, we're close enough,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Let's do it.
So what we started working on this happened because my friend came to me, Artrix _ on Twitch. Go check her out. But
She's great.
she asked me about a dream she had in which a loved one who had passed away visited, and I had no response for that. So I went out and I sought out the knowledge of dreams. So this entire next season, over the next like 4 months or so, is going to be focused on dreams. The first two episodes are going to be the scientific reason why we dream and how we dream. And then the last 2 episodes are going to be the spirituality of them and where we go when we do.
Yep.
We got
I think this is going to be great. Kirby's done like a lot of great research on dreaming, the science, and actually the mysticism around it. It's going to be fabulous.
and we got episodes intertwined with that from As Above, So Below. We're going to be talking about Japanese yokai at some point. And we got various cool stuff that kind of fits around the dreams. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a wild ride because that whole writing that season, it's all written. Writing that
Yep.
season was a fucking mind trip.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I'm excited. All right, so let's wrap it up. Flatwoods Monster, let's just say pretty cool. Maybe an owl, probably not.
I'd say, yeah, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Flatwoods
look-
Monster, come
Thumbs up.
visit me in Virginia, and I'll give you a wild time and some baked beans.
Look, he doesn't even have to throw mustard gas on me, okay? If he wants me over there, I'll hang out with him. I'll be like,
Yeah,
this guy's cool.
yeah, he's got gas. It's fine. But you know what? We can sit in a room and play video games, and I'll deal with it.
You
I'm
know,
kinky. I want the gas. Shoving me, baby.
I'll just wear a gas mask, dude. You come
Fuck
on down
yeah.
here. I want to see Proof of Aliens. That'd be sick. We'll play some fucking Halo, and I'll wear a gas
Yeah.
mask the entire time.
Fuck yeah. I'll take you to that place that does dollar oysters. We'll play some pinball, man, and you can eat as many oysters as you want. I'll buy.
I think you got a bad rap of the world, man. We need to get you a Nathan's hot dog. We need to take you to Vegas. We need to like fucking show you the ropes, man. Come
This is a
on back
bad-
down to earth.
Or you could come see me and I'll give you a fucking Hebrew National, if you know what I mean.
Maybe he stayed here the whole time.
It's Kirby.
So this has been a great episode, guys. I want to thank John Zara because John Zara allowed us to use his Old Lang Syne song.
He's a
Uh,
great guy.
Let's see if we have any Twitch mods. We do not right now, but I would like to shout out my friend Jay Gazes. That's JGAZES. Go check him out on Twitch.
He's awesome.
And I think that's it. So let's go ahead and play the music.
Yep.
Guys,
Are
it's
we-
been great. The what?
Oh, I'm not playing the intro right now, right?
No, I don't even
Okay.
know how to access that clip.
Yeah,
yet.
don't do. I'm just gonna say that we just applied a new DIY intro that we did in house to all our episodes. I hope you guys like it. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
These guys think it's pretty awesome. So
Go listen to it. It's on Crook and Murder. It's available on Spotify and all those other channels. You'll also find our YouTube at Crook Irish, and our Crook Irish Studios, and our Twitch at Crook Irish. I am Crook Irish. Keep it weird.
I am Maxwell Murder. I got my 40 ounce and a system to overthrow.
And I'm special guest Alex, and I apologize to Eugene Lemon for making him faint.
He's kind of a bitch anyway, so I want to apologize to Eugene Lemon.
I'm just gonna say that I recant nothing I said about Richard Dawkins. He is more of an asshole now than when I was talking about him earlier in the fucking episode. He can eat a dick. All right.
Let it out. It's over now. Yeah, you can just
Yeah.
let it all out about Dawson.
Yeah. All right, guys. That was a good one. I'm sorry it went so long. Next time, I forgot to mention this today. Okay,